No maid lasted with the billionaire's new wife until a new maid did the impossible. The golden chandeliers bathed the two-story ballroom in a warm, intimidating glow. Gilded portraits watched silently from the walls. The sweeping staircase was lined with rich carpet, marble floors gleaming like ice. On the invitation, the words read, "Welcome, Mrs. Varela, the billionaire's new wife." When she entered, the room seemed to bow under her command. A white woman in a blood-red sequined gown, diamond earrings grazing her neck, and a smile sharp enough to cut glass. This was Ariana Varela. Around her, men in tuxedos and women in flowing gowns whispered, their eyes flicking toward her like moths to flame. At the base of the staircase stood a young black maid in a gray uniform with a white apron, lace-trimmed collar, and a small cap resting over neatly tied hair. Her name was Riva, 25, though her eyes carried the calm weight of someone who had lived far more. Riva was counting candles in the dining hall when Ariana approached. No greeting, no warning. Ariana's manicured fingers reached out and hooked the tiny silver pendant around Riva's neck, pulling it up into the light. The ballroom fell silent. In the distance, a silver-haired woman in a copper gown gasped. Two men in black tuxedos didn't look away. "Whose is this?" Ariana's voice was low, almost sweet, but carried the tone of a command. "You know the rules here. No personal jewelry while on duty." Riva kept her gaze lowered. "Ma'am, it was my mother's. I keep it tucked in my uniform. I didn't mean for it to show. That's my mistake." Ariana tugged the pendant higher, the chain biting against Riva's skin. "Mistake? In this mansion, mistakes have a price. The last girl couldn't pay it. She didn't last 5 days. No one does." No one laughed. No one moved. At the back of the crowd, Adrian, the billionaire's personal assistant, typed something on his phone, his expression tight. Riva said nothing, remembering her mother's words. "In a moment of humiliation, don't waste your dignity on anger. Prove yourself with action." Riva reached up gently and touched the pendant. "If you wish, I'll remove it right now, ma'am." Ariana smirked. "Remove it? Just like that? Oh, no, dear, this is a show. Look around. Everyone's watching. I break the staff in a week. How long have you been here?" At that moment, Lucas Varela descended the staircase. The billionaire's black tuxedo was perfect, but his eyes were shadowed with a quiet exhaustion. Ariana dropped the pendant instantly, plastering on a smile. Applause erupted for Lucas, but his eyes never left Riva. He noticed the redness at her throat, his brow furrowed. He said nothing, yet. Riva returned to her duties. While serving wine, she noticed the silver-haired woman, Elena, Lucas's aunt, standing rigidly near the staircase, her right hand trembling against the banister. Riva moved closer. "Ma'am, would you like to sit?" Elena tried to speak, but her words slurred. Her right arm hung strangely limp. Riva's stomach dropped. Stroke symptoms. She scanned the room for Adrian, but before she could call, Elena's knees buckled. Riva knelt instantly, supporting her. "Ma'am, stay with me. Look at me." She remembered FAST. Face, arm, speech, time. Drooping mouth, one-sided weakness, slurred speech. All signs were there. They had to act now. "Adrian," she called, but Ariana's voice cut across the room like a whip. "Service is too slow. Glasses are empty." The guests laughed and chattered, oblivious to the medical emergency unfolding at their feet. Riva kept her composure. "We need an ambulance, now." Ariana stepped closer, her tone dripping with mockery. "What are you, a doctor?" This is a party, not a clinic. Adrian, remove her. Lucas turned at the words. What's going on? Riva didn't hesitate. Sir, she's showing classic signs of an ischemic stroke. Facial droop, arm weakness, slurred speech. We are within the critical window. Time is brain. Lucas's expression hardened. Adrian, ambulance, now. Riva eased Elena onto her side, loosening her necklace, keeping her awake. Ma'am, can you tell me your name? Elena. The weak reply was enough to confirm she was conscious. Minutes later, sirens wailed. Paramedics rushed in, listening intently as Riva listed every symptom and the exact time of onset. Under an hour? Good, one said. She's a candidate for thrombolysis. Lucas followed them out, his hand firm on Riva's shoulder. Ariana trailed behind, her jaw tight, her smile gone. At the hospital, Lucas asked quietly, You've had medical training? Riva shook her head. No, sir. My mother died of a stroke. I took EMT training after, but I couldn't finish. I had to work. Lucas stared at her for a long moment. If we'd waited even 5 more minutes... He didn't finish. Later, Ariana appeared in the waiting area. Her gown still glittered, but her voice was sharper. Do you have any idea what you've done? You made me look like a fool in front of everyone. I wasn't trying to embarrass you, Riva replied softly. I was trying to save a life. Your staff didn't call for help sooner because they're afraid of you. For once, Ariana didn't have an immediate comeback. She stared at Riva, the memory of that pendant tug burning in her mind. When the doctor came out hours later, he said, We were in time. She's responding well. Lucas exhaled in relief. Thank you, Riva, he said, and meant it. By morning, the footage from the party had gone viral. The red-gowned wife pulling at a maid's necklace, the same maid later saving the life of a guest. Hashtags trended, Respect the help, and Riva saved Aunt Elena. HR announced new policies, body cams for staff, medical emergency training, zero tolerance for harassment. Ariana stayed silent through the meetings. Later, she found Riva in the laundry room. She held out a small velvet box. Your pendant. I didn't return it last night. Inside was also a gold onyx pin, the mansion's highest honor. This is for those who save this house. Last night, I thought I ran it. I learned the house runs because of people like you. Riva accepted it quietly. I didn't do it for a reward. I know, Ariana said. That's why it means something. Soon after, Adrian came in. Lucas wants you in the study, now. When Riva entered, Lucas was waiting. I want to reinstate your EMT training. We'll triple your salary, and the house will fund your certification. You'll lead our new internal response team. Riva was stunned. But You're not just anything, Lucas cut in. You're the reason my aunt is alive. That night, the ballroom filled again. But this time, Riva walked in as a guest, not as staff. Lucas announced the staff safety charter and the Riva Emergency Response Unit to roaring applause. When Riva spoke, her voice was steady. I started here because I needed a job, but I've learned when one person is given respect instead of humiliation, a house can change. When a house changes, a city can change. The applause shook the chandeliers. Ariana clapped too, this time without pride, but with respect. Elena rose from her seat, walked to Riva, and embraced her. And for the first time in years, Riva felt her mother's pendant resting warm against her heart, exactly where it belonged. The applause still echoed through the high-ceilinged ballroom when the doors at the far end burst open. 2 suited men stepped in, their movements brisk, faces pale. One of them leaned toward Lucas and whispered urgently. His expression darkened instantly. "Riva," Lucas said, his voice low but firm. "We have a problem." Adrian appeared beside him. "Sir, the garage sensors went off. One of the cars is missing." Ariana's face tightened. "Which one?" Lucas's jaw flexed. "The McLaren. And it's not just a theft. Someone saw it heading toward the East Road at 150 miles per hour. Gasps rippled across the crowd. Riva frowned. "That road leads to the river bridge. What's over there?" Adrian answered grimly. "Elena's son, your cousin. He's been drinking again. Word is he stormed out of the hospital after visiting his mother. He's in the passenger seat. The driver might be under the influence." The words dropped like a weight in Riva's chest. Without hesitation, she stepped forward. "Then we can't wait for the police. By the time they intercept, it could be too late." Ariana scoffed. "And what exactly do you plan to do? Chase down a supercar on foot?" Lucas didn't hesitate. "No, she'll take the Ferrari. Riva, you have my permission." Murmurs exploded in the room. Adrian tossed her the keys. "Black F8 Spider, tuned for track. You drive?" Riva's lips pressed into a thin line. "I learned on back roads with no brakes. I'll manage." Within seconds, she was in the driver's seat, the engine snarling to life. The security gates opened, and the Ferrari roared into the night, tires spitting sparks as they hit the asphalt. The city lights blurred past. Riva's eyes stayed locked on the winding road ahead, scanning for the McLaren's taillights. Every second felt like a lifetime. Then, there, a flash of silver weaving recklessly ahead, too close to the shoulder. Riva gritted her teeth, shifting up. The Ferrari's V8 screamed, the speedometer climbing past 170 kilometers per hour. She drew closer, catching sight of the passenger, head slumped against the window, unconscious. She pulled alongside, honking hard, but the driver, a lanky young man with wild eyes, only laughed, flooring the accelerator. "All right," she muttered, gripping the wheel. "We do this the hard way." She dropped back, calculated the angle, then swerved sharply, clipping the McLaren's rear quarter. The car fish-tailed, tires shrieking. For a moment, she thought it might roll, but it steadied, slowed, and veered toward the shoulder. Both cars skidded to a halt, just meters from the bridge's guardrail. Riva was out of her seat in seconds, yanking open the McLaren's passenger door. The smell of alcohol hit her instantly. She unbuckled Elena's son, dragging him clear, her own arms shaking from adrenaline. The driver staggered out, shouting incoherently. Riva stepped between him and the edge of the bridge. "You're done," she said quietly. Police sirens wailed in the distance. By the time Lucas arrived, Riva was sitting on the hood of the Ferrari, Elena's son leaning weakly against her. "You just saved the only son she has," Lucas said, his voice rough. Riva glanced at Ariana, who stood a few feet away, silent. The woman's face was unreadable until she stepped forward. "You didn't just save him," Ariana said quietly. "You saved me from losing any chance to fix my place in this family." The moment held. For once, there was no audience, no glittering crowd, just truth. The next morning, headlines blazed. "Billionaire's maid saves family twice in 2 nights." "From staff to savior, who is Riva?" Lucas called a press conference. Cameras flashed as he stood beside her. "This house has always had wealth, but now it has honor because of her." He turned to Riva. "You've proven that courage and loyalty don't come with a price tag. From today, You're no longer staff. You're family. Reva's throat tightened. She thought of her mother's pendant, of the nights she'd gone without food just to keep a roof over her head. And now, here she was, not because she'd bowed to power, but because she'd stood against it when it mattered. After the conference, Ariana approached her privately. I can't erase how I treated you when you first arrived, but I can start over, if you'll let me. Riva met her gaze, then nodded. Start with the others. They need your respect too. And she did. Over the next months, the mansion changed. The rules softened, the laughter returned. The Ferrari stayed in the garage, but sometimes Lucas would hand Riva the keys for a Sunday drive just because he could. One evening, as the sun bled gold over the estate, Elena joined Riva on the terrace. You know, she said softly, in another life, you could have been anything you wanted. Riva smiled faintly. I still can. And as the wind stirred the trees, she knew this chapter had ended, but her story was just beginning. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We'd love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.